We have a special guest today, an old friend of mine. Hey Rizwan, can you hear me?
Good evening, Karthik. How are you?
Good, good. Nice to see you, man. If we've been talking on the phone all this while, and at last we get to see each other on screen.
Exactly. So,
Are you able to
Karthik,
hear me well?
yeah, I can hear you properly. I can hear you perfectly
Awesome.
fine.
So there's no need for
So,
me to buy a
how's
mic.
your
I thought of,
experience as a host on LinkedIn Live? Or
oh my God. Right now, I'm literally, you can see sweating and all that. It's my first time around. So I'm just trying to figure things out. I don't know why the video was not on for
sitting
a
in your
while. Shitting in my pants almost. So just to it, it's a it's my first time. That's the reason I wanted to have someone like you who's who I'm very comfortable with, and I hope not many people are watching this. Although I see a bunch of people who liked it. I know for sure that three people watching for sure. It's my kids, both my kids and my wife are watching for sure. So they're in the other room and they're checking and seeing if things are working out for me.
Hey, good Pradeep. We have Prithvi Teja. Good evening.
And where is he at? He's on YouTube or where is he?
I could see Prithvi, so I just joined in from another. Karthik, can you hear me?
Where do, I can hear you, man. Where do you see him? I'm trying to find out where is he. Oh, there's comments in here. Got you.
Okay,
I
now
see,
there is
Prithvi.
there.
You are audible. Okay, so this is all new for me, right? That's why I could make it out now. Awesome. Hey, Prithvi. Nice to see you, man. So, Prithvi, are you
Okay.
from a procurement background? I see Salma as well. That's a familiar name. Does that ring a bell, Rizwan?
Yes. Yeah. Hello, Prithvi Teja. So, where are you from, Prithvi? So, this is the first trial which we're trying out for the
And
live
you
webinar
could
where we will be
ask whatever you
discussing
want to.
more,
Yeah.
quite a few things with procurement doctor. So,
I haven't yet
so
understood
doctor,
Rizwan with the.
you have an internet issue, I guess. It's
Do I?
lagging a bit.
Okay. So let me shut down all the unnecessary windows that I have.
I don't know if it's but my end or it's your end.
I should be yours, Rizwan. My internet is never bad. It's top class. Yeah. So Prithvi, you need to join in as a guest if you want to talk to us. But in the meantime, we intend to use the comment section for our question and answer session. If you have any questions, you could ask either of us. Rizwan has a strong training background. I do a lot of things on the procurement side of things. So I'll be glad to take a few questions since you're my first guest in my life. So I'll definitely answer as many questions as you'd like to. Okay, you're interested in procurement and supply chain. You just completed your MBA, and are you doing any kind of what do you say? What was the specialty in the MBA that you did? Let me do this. Let me invite Fridvi on it, but he could join us 1 second. Rizwan, do you still see a lag in the internet from my side? There's a lot of. Hey, Salma. Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you. Shakib, my friend, it's been a while. Nice to see you on. And I'm glad that you're taking time on your Sunday afternoon. It's about lunchtime, and you're on here talking to me, which might not be the most important thing in your life. But thank you for coming on. Hope everything's fine with you and folks back home. And Prithvi, I sent you a link. If you click on that, you can join the LinkedIn live session as a guest, and we could talk. Whatever questions you have, we could go ahead and I can try to answer. Okay, I added you back, Rizwan. So I wasn't sure why did it. I think it was your internet connection. It kicked you out and brought you back in. Oh yeah, sorry Shakib, I somehow missed out you it's the Ramadan season. It's because I broke my fast. I assume that everyone else has eaten. So it's good that you're doing Ramadan. Okay, I see Prithvi. So Prithvi, I'm adding you to the session. Hey
Hello,
Prithvi, can you
Karthik.
hear
Hello,
us?
Rizwan. Yeah, yeah. Hope you guys can
Awesome.
hear me now.
I can hear you well. So I
Great, great.
understand from your question. Thank you so much for joining us, firstly. And this was completely unplanned. I called Rizwan. He was the first guy who liked my post. So I ended up picking the phone, calling him, and I told, "Why don't you jump on? I want to test this LinkedIn Live thing. I spent some money, and then you are my first guy who commented. So I want you in as a guest. And I understand. I just checked your profile. It looks like you're from not from a procurement background, right? But you want to get into procurement. Am I right in saying that, Prithvi?
Exactly, exactly, Karthik.
Okay. And what did you intern during your MBA? What kind of a project did you do?
Uh, it's like an end-to-end process, like business development. So I
Okay.
worked on a project for setting up an ice cream. I have an idea setting up an ice
Okay.
cream. I could not say that to be a parlor, but it's an idea, nitrogen ice cream, which is new in my place, Vizag. So
Okay.
I have worked on it. My
Awesome.
my brother is working as a procurement specialist, so I have an
Awesome.
interest.
Great. In MBA, what did you study? I have not done my
Yeah,
MBA. Okay. So you're hearing the wrong guy. I'm not too
yeah,
big on
market.
education, unluckily.
Yeah, yeah. Straight answering to your straight away, I could say that I have done my marketing and operations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I don't have an option to choose supply chain here in my university, so I have opted this.
That's okay. But I'm glad that more and more people are looking for procurement as a career path. This wasn't the case many years ago, and maybe still in a few countries, people, when you say that you're working in procurement, people might not recognize it, but things are changing. So, and you said you did an internship in business development, ice cream, kind of setting up an ice cream parlor, so to say, which is very
Mm,
interesting because I like
mhm.
ice cream a lot, and setting up new things or setting up new businesses, the entrepreneurial spirit is something that I love. I always am open for new ideas and things as such. Um, for, if you want to start off in procurement, I would suggest since you're in India, so what I always missed, which I later got an experience for, is I joined the corporate uh, in terms of the big MNCs, which where the actual procurement is happening in United States of America or UK or some other countries, and I was to work on their procurement activities from offshore to a larger part of my earlier part of my career, right? And there's a different feeling when you do that. It's more strategic in nature. You learn a lot of stuff, but I've during like the first 3 or 4 years after that, I felt like I need to go back to an Indian procurement firm, like a cement manufacturer or a steel
Mhm.
manufacturer, the Tata Steel or whatever, because the learning there is you're doing the real procurement. You're seeing the material coming in, going out, I wanted to get that field, which I got to some extent because I've done transformations for Indian companies. So if I were you, I would prefer to join a company for 2-3 years in the Indian side of things, is because it's purely raw. It's there's no process procedure as such. You'll kind of get your hands dirty, and then you can join any of these big companies like the Accentures, the Enforcers, Putneys, Cognizants, or even for that case, even having to join a company which has its own captive procurement unit. Like there are a few companies that have their own procurement center. They don't offshore their or give it to a third party. If you join them as well, you get to learn a lot. Genpact is a very nice place, is because they got such a strong training background where you'll be nice. It's like a college after college. So if you join such a place, it'll be very nice for you to learn. And I hear from your comments that you have been following a lot of my videos. Thank you so much on both the platforms. Uh, for me, the good source of knowledge is by following my peers in the industry, just like how you're following me. I have a bunch of people who are my go-to people, and I learn from their experiences because I, as a human being, only have a certain lifespan and I can only experience so much. But if I am
Yes.
learning from other people's experiences, that kind of makes it multifold and increases my area of expertise. So that's what I would recommend. Uh, do you listen to podcasts?
Not really, Karthik. I'm just starting. But
Okay.
coming back to your points, which you have just said, thanks for the insight.
Mhm.
But the main problem we are facing here is like I have done my MBA, I have spent some amount on this.
Mhm.
Hope you understand how costly MBA is. Talking frankly,
Yeah.
so what happens is I have interest in procurement.
Mhm.
Um, by seeing my brother and I have few friends and I understand the importance of procurement and its scope in supply chain right now.
Mhm.
But at the same time, when we want to learn procurement, what you said is 100% right. We have to go back to the core, our core manufacturing units and get the things.
Not just manufacturing, any Indian firm, I'm saying. I know they pay very less. That's why I didn't go back to them.
That's that's
Okay.
that's my that's my
Right.
core point here. After
Yeah.
after
So.
spending 2 years of time and money, I
Mhm.
have attended an interview here in Vizag in a
Yeah, they
pharma
pay very
unit.
little, man. That's what I've seen,
Very very
and that's
very
why I
less. So
didn't go back
how
to. Yeah.
I think I think as a procurement doctor or procurement analyst or specialist like you,
Mm.
uh, what do you feel like how people get motivated by this? Because I don't see, I because when we start very less and it takes time. And when I search in Google also, I clearly understand that I don't know about abroad, but here in India, people are getting. I mean, they paid very less
Yeah.
because
If you
procurement being very strategic part of the organization and
well,
to be frank, like you say in I listen to your videos, like you say, more than the finance department, the procurement department or the team is really doing good job, but there is no proper recognition.
yeah, yeah.
but
So
but to
there is
people like
a
me who are trying to get in, there is no this kind of motivation. And also I want to add one more point. We got due to this COVID and all, we got very few companies for the placements.
mhm.
So I am placed in ICICI and I started working there.
Okay.
Here, yeah, it's been just 1 month. So
I hope your
how
boss is
should I
not
take
listening to this, man.
not but
You'll be in trouble.
but I have no option. I just want to be very clear with you.
So, so I understand, man. If you're so that's what my thing was as well. When I wanted to go back to an Indian firm, uh, I've already had so much debt or so much expenditure that I could not even think of going back to the Indian firm. So that was my problem, and I think you are in a similar problem. You still want to earn some money to make a living and survive or help your family or whatever. If that is the case, I would ask you to join a company like Genpact or any of the other companies. They're good because I know money is required, but it's still in our control as to how you spend it. I'm not here to give you a financial advice, so to say. If you have, so what I've seen, unfortunately, that's been the trend, and this was one of my old bosses who was in the States. He told, and this is prevalent even in US these days. People always want to grow lengthwise. They keep growing tall and tall like a long tree, and they don't want to grow breadthwise. If you want the tree to be strong, it should be grown breadthwise. Then, however tall you go, you won't fall off or the trunk won't break. And that's why I'm saying, since you're young, just you came out of your MBA, it makes sense for you to at least build a little bit of a strong trunk so that you can grow tall later. And you're young. There's still a long way to go. There's always an option to change, right? It's in your hands completely. Whatever exactly you want to make your future of, it's a bright future. It's up to you however you want to make the full use of it. That's what my advice would be. Apart from that, see what I'll do for you is we'll connect on LinkedIn chat. I'll send you the list of the guys you could follow. I'll send you maybe a couple of recruiters that I know, okay, and a couple of places that I see that there's openings. All right, and then we could figure it out on how logically you could get into another job in a procurement-based job soon. Okay, right? And you have to be a little bit patient, is because you see how the situation is, because thanks to COVID and everything else. But we'll have to wait and see. You'll have to work towards it.
That would be really helpful, Karthik.
Absolutely, man. I'm in all in for it. I keep doing
Thank you
this
very much.
for folks on and off. I'm glad that you had
Yes,
joined and you wanted to talk about this. It's good that you're open and you're frank and you're talking clearly about it. Anything
thank you
else
very
that you'd like to know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not particularly like
Mhm.
the basic difference between I know I and to my very limited knowledge I understand that supply chain is much bigger word and then there consists of many other teams involved, but how do you differ otherwise how do you term procurement with respect to supply chain?
Yeah, it's a subset of supply chain, man. And this could be a 90-minute session by itself, the supply chain piece. And I am lighter on the supply chain side of things. I'm also the procurement or the sourcing contract side of things. So we fall as we are one of the wheels in the overall engine of the overall supply chain cycle. That's how I term it as. And I am going to have guests on this show, just like we had Rizwan today. I'll have guests on this show who would come from a supply chain background, and I intend to do this more often. Now that I've got the approval from LinkedIn, thank you, LinkedIn, for approving my LinkedIn Live at such a lightning speed. I know there are a lot of people who are waiting. I just got it approved in like within a week's time. So you would have preceding sessions. I'm going to pull in category managers from different industries, category experts from the print media advertising. I want to pull in somebody who's working in the sports industry, or different kinds of experts. I intend to do this on a regular basis. I haven't planned it out as yet because I need to plan out basis my guests availability. If they aren't available, I'll just get on like this and talk to people like you, assuming people would like to join.
For sure, Karthik. You're really doing a great job. That is really helpful to people like me and others as well.
Absolutely. I don't mind having a session with folks such as you as well. If you have other friends who
Yeah.
are looking at a similar have similar questions, I don't mind doing a private session also. If you're not comfortable coming on a LinkedIn Live or someplace else, so I'll be happy to do a webinar, talk to you guys, and show what would work, what wouldn't work. Just my experience. It's not a silver bullet.
This is the first time for me also. This LinkedIn live is very much new. I
Okay.
just I just try to see what I just like listening to you. That's why.
Thank you so much, my friend. It's a pleasure
Thank,
meeting you.
thanks, Karthik. Same here. There's nothing much from me. I
Okay.
can listen if you can continue. Thanks.
Sure. So I'll talk to Rizwan a bit. Rizwan, any questions that I could ask you,
I would
or
no.
did you have any
I need to
questions?
ask you. Yes, I have few questions for you. Can you hear me?
Sure, please go ahead. I know you're going to put me on the spot.
All right. No, this is just like how exactly, when exactly did you start? I see too many podcasts which has been published for you, especially on LinkedIn. So how exactly this journey started for your podcast? What was your first podcast, and what was your overall feeling? And did you ever believe that you will be doing like two, three podcasts in a week or bi-weekly?
So for me, it was. I always had this feeling. You know me personally as well, Rizwan. I always wanted to do something. We have a lot of guilt all the time, right? You're not doing enough. You're not helping people. That's always something that kept hurting me. Although I do all these small social initiatives, like on a festival, or if there's some kind of a natural calamity, we give donations, something like that, and then you brush your hands off. And I felt like that isn't really giving that much of a fun, right? Or you don't feel satisfied. You still feel like there's something missing. And that's how I started doing these videos. Because even before I did the videos, I had a lot of people calling me and asking me, Karthik bhai, how do we have the situation? How do we fix it? Karthik bhai, how do we do this? Or Karthik, uh, all these questions from people who I know, or maybe the people who I just connected with on LinkedIn, and they think that I must be knowing something. Okay, and they ask me these questions. Although I'm not that big shot, it's just I talk whatever I've learned, and there are a lot more people who are much more experienced or know more than I do. That is the main driving force why I started putting out videos. I started putting out videos like maybe 4 years ago or whatever, and I used to do it consistently. And then I got lazy, or I switched the job, and I wasn't sure if my employer would be okay with me doing those videos. But I started this while I was doing freelancing, and then I joined into a company where I'm not sure whether they would be okay with it. So I kind of cut down on it, although I thought I'll do it on the non-working days. But it was so much work that I stopped doing it. Uh, my first podcast. It's Daniel Barnes, the guy who's. It was his first podcast as well, but he's such a wonderful host. He made me so comfortable. It almost felt as though it's just a conversation, nothing special, and it was so natural and organic. And that podcast, from what I've heard from Daniel, they were one of the big guns of procurements in the procurement world on that podcast as well. And somehow my episode did very well. It had a lot of. It was amongst the top 3 or top 4 downloads amongst all his 14 podcasts that were done. And then that's when it got clicked off. Everybody started hearing me on this podcast, and they wanted me to be on their podcast as well. I did another podcast with Daniel after that, and then it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. So, and it's for me. There's no prep work. I just talk, right? And it's just experience. So it's much more easier. I don't need to sit and make notes or anything in particular. There are certain subjects that I do make notes because I end up talking a lot, like I do right now. You just ask me a simple question, and I've been talking for the last 7-8 minutes. So I love talking, and to control my the length of speech, I try to make rules for myself. That's how it all started, and I'm truly loving it. It's really helping me. I'm learning a lot from these guys as well. That's the thing, the story behind that.
Fantastic. So that was the first event or first podcast what you had. That's a brilliant background to how exactly you actually started.
Yeah,
Now, another question what always keeps playing in my mind is, uh, what exactly is the doctor or procurement doctor doing? As in, like, nowadays, I see you're doing some podcast with the procurement wala. So is
yeah,
it like
procurement.
more of like people coming or companies coming with issues on the different procurements or sourcings or contracts, and you guiding them on that, or is it more of like what exactly procurement wala, and what exactly is the overall thing which you're doing right now
Yeah.
through
So
your
there's a
blogs and
yeah.
blogs?
So there's a selfish motto out here as well. Okay.
Okay.
Since I did a lot of podcasts with, so I did a podcast with Daniel Barnes from UK. We have James Meds, who's from he's from uh, Bulgaria. He's from Bulgaria. And then we had Noor Hadi, who's from Malaysia. Then we had a lady called Danny from Procurify from Canada. So it's all been outside. It never had been in India. Okay. And like I just spoke to Prithvi as well, I've not done much for the Indian community. And Procurement Wala is like a strong core Indian community. And Prithvi, I would also recommend you to join their group on WhatsApp group for the job thing. So that's one of the things that I was going to do as well. Um, so Procurement Wale it's got a nice, long, big following. It's like an NGO, right? I did two events with them, two webinars, and it's basically because I'm available during the Indian time zone. Right now, I'm working with the US out of India. So I ended up doing two webinars with them, one on contracts, one on the fight between the business stakeholders and procurement. So I usually pick these controversial topics because that's what instigates me or my creative energies. And Montu Verma, who's the host of the Procurement Wale, on a podcast or a webinar, ended up saying, Karthik, since you're the procurement doctor, why don't we have a OPD session on an ongoing basis? So I thought it's a brilliant idea, and I told let's do it every second Sunday. So second Sunday of next month. So it's a terrifying thing because I have people who have had 25, 30 years of experience asking me questions about how do I resolve it. So it's definitely a learning for me. There are few of them that I answer on the spot. A few of them are something that I need to take back and maybe research and give it back. Few of them where I say I can't answer that, I don't know. So, but at least I'm willing to take that hit, is because it's helping me personally because I'm learning about the different ways that procurement is done in India, the issues that Indians have with their with the currently with the COVID situation in the China imports and all that. So I'm learning. I've learned those things through the podcast. So that's good for me personally.
Fantastic.
Anything else, Rizwan? How have you been doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So this is my first session on live as a host or as a guest. So I'm enjoying
I
it.
don't
I
know
have
who's the
my
host here.
okay. No, I'm just trying to see myself online on LinkedIn and also be one of the guests with you. So
Oh,
I'm doing both the part right
you
now.
can look at it
So
later, man. It's
we
going to be
had like the
recorded.
maximum numbers I could see was around eight guests who were watching us.
Oh, wow.
So that was the maximum number.
Okay.
So currently
And this
right
was
now
not.
it's three. I don't know if it, yeah,
People are just dropping because they're bored, maybe.
possibly. Yeah, or probably they see me as nowhere related to procurement,
Ah,
right?
see,
So
I just put this
overall,
event out.
let's do something interesting. So
Okay.
Karthik, just let's. Uh, how many countries have you been visited where you have deployed procurement softwares and everything?
Boy, I think
I'm just asking you countries. I hope it's
16 or
within the
17 countries.
Marshall.
16 or 17
So
countries.
out of
Uh, I have not traveled
Mhm.
to a few of the APAC countries, but I've done deployments remotely for them. Um, it's been fun. It's been a lot of travel to US, Puro. But I've done it in the other
Okay.
countries.
Any,
Go ahead, go ahead.
so one more question. So how many projects for any company which is based out India? Because I believe even the procurement, the contract, and everything has to be streamlined. So India being one of the biggest market now. So do you think the procurement and the sourcing and the contracting over here in India would be a boom maybe within like next 5 years or next 10 years? What do you see? So like because when you talk about sourcing, procurements, all of that, you talk about big companies from US or UK or the European side. How about
Mhm.
Indian market and how about Indian procurements and contracts?
So there's a lot of scope of improvement or opportunity in the Indian sourcing procurement world. Uh, if you look at it, right, procurement is effective depending on the amount of spend you're doing. The more, the more spend you have, the more impact you can give. Okay, when you compare it as an economy across the world, the major spend is in the US or the Euro. That's where you have more of strategy. They're more mature. For us, the spending itself is low, right? So there's really no people don't the people find the spend or the expenditure as negligible, or they don't think of as the saving angle, so to say. That's why the development is not that rapid. But now with COVID, with all this stress, right? People, it's not just sales that give you revenue, right? You could also uh, like how you run your household, you squeeze on the expenditure,
Right.
right? When it comes to a house, you squeeze on the expenditure. Okay, the same should apply to every organization in India as well. And I see a lot of opportunities out here. I have again deployed a couple of, at least two times in two different organizations, of procurement tools. Um, Indians are very savvy. They're very quick. You know, they're very good at learning something new, picking up, and doing their best. So that's what I see. Even across, if you go anywhere in the other parts of the world, it's more so Indians. There are a lot of Indian counterparts that I see doing this technical or techno-functional stuff or whatever. So if they want to really, they could do a
Right.
lot. It's a will thing more so. Hey Sundar, nice to see you, man.
Got it.
I have a friend, old friend of mine who's on.
Yeah, there is a question what we have from Sundar as well. He's
Mhm.
saying, as a system administrator, mainly in the role of procurement system deployment, what
Mhm.
are the some best in the
Best
deployment?
practices, you always advise. Okay, so
Have you
I'll talk about
Yes.
from the mistakes that I've seen. So you know this the Corning Gorilla Glass, the cover that you have. There's a company, the Gorilla Glass company called Corning. So they've been old users of Ariba or procurement tools, so to say. I don't want to take the names, and they had a lot of system administrators. They gave it basically to every other person in the company. That's definitely something that's a complete no-no. And there has to be some set of guidelines or rules that the administrators should set forward. It should be, uh, if it's a medium enterprise, it should be at least between 2 to 3 people at the most. That's where I see a major gap. Uh, a lot of the companies do is they create a lot of shitty data, bad data, and then they sit on it and they're like, I'm not able to. There's no replication between the instance and the production instance. They don't look alike. They look like different systems from two different eras. So you need to control the users. That's what I've seen a lot, and you have to have regular checkpoints between you and the other administrators on how whether the system has been utilized the way it's supposed to, or if there's a lot of there should be an archival process of all the customization or the templates that are happening. You have to audit between your production instance and your test instance on an ongoing basis. I hope that helps answer the question, Sundar.
Right. And there's another one following that with Sundar. He wants to know what's the low hanging fruits or the low hanging things, but organization or the organization is normally they omit that or they will skip that.
Okay, yeah. Low hanging fruits. Yeah, so I see a lot of opportunities here, man, in the low hanging fruit section. You've done a lot of those projects as well, Sundar, yourself. I see payment terms consolidation is is a thing that people could do. It's an easy thing. There's a little bit of work or manual work out there, but still, it is a easy kill. Supplier consolidation is another thing. So there's a lot of data to do with this. If you have good data that you could work with, you go ahead and pick it up and work on it. It's a low hanging fruit. People intentionally leave it is because there's a lot of work effort or there's some bit of manual effort behind it. But if you are a guy, someone like you who knows macros, Excels, and all this stuff, it shouldn't take much time, right? So, and once you fix it, you could have a process around it so that it doesn't repeat itself. So, those are two things that come to my mind as a low hanging fruit. Thanks for the confirmation, Sundar. Any other questions, Rizwan, that you see?
No, that was another question. I thank you. Thanks for that, Sundar. Now I don't have any question on uh, right now, but I do have one question for you.
Mhm.
So, what do you want to achieve by doing this LinkedIn live session? So, I understand you already said, uh, Prithvi, that you want to bring in some guest along who wants to discuss and highlight. So how exactly the agenda will roll out? Like as you said, bi-weekly you're gonna be doing the OPD
I
with
don't know, man.
one of
Yeah, every second week of the month,
every
second
second
Sunday,
week of the month you have, yeah, second Saturday you have the OPD. So likewise
Sunday.
on live for this live event. So what would be the more basic agenda kind of thing? So or will there be any rollout, and when exactly will be the rollouts happen?
I haven't really planned this one. I've spoken to two guests, two wonderful ladies who are willing to join on this LinkedIn Live event. I don't want to bring out their names, but they would come as a surprise. And so I want to bring people from different facets of procurement, and to some extent, folks, few commodities like the kind of even the sourcing of the procurement varies from a commodity to commodity. There are few niche categories that I want to bring light to. I want to compare the differences between categories as well, right? So I have a lot of, thanks to God, over the years of experience, I have a lot of people who worked in different categories, certain categories that I worked on myself. I'd like to have them on the show, and it would be a casual conversation, just like we both are talking. I intend to keep it between 30 to 45 minutes, where it would be category expertise, it would be procurement data the aspects, it would be only me talking as well with you in a couple of sessions in between. But there isn't a concrete plan, so to say. The agenda would be kind of an opening introduction, and it's more so going to be the different pain points in that particular category or commodity, and also certain things that my audience might not know about. I want to bring it out to the thing. I might have a guest who is from a major league sports organization in the US. I intend to bring him. I haven't spoken to him as yet, but I want to have someone who's done procurement in the defense industry, so to say, because there's very little information around how procurement is done in the defense industry. I don't want them to give out the trade secrets, but definitely there's going to be a lot of more policy, procedure, a lot of good practices that they follow as well. So because it's high complex and very very dynamic products that they buy. And Rizwan, I see you just jumped off the LinkedIn Live event. Okay. Where do you go in between? You just keep going and coming back, man. What happened?
I'm playing around with the system, just checking, and you're used to US shifts. I'm not.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
You
so
used to watching YouTube and LinkedIn and Netflix during this time on your bed
not Lala.
for the next
It
couple
was
of hours
only
before you hit the bed.
before December 11th.
Okay.
So like there was an event in December. There are quite a few events which happens in December. So for me, December 11th was a big event. So
Oh,
that
I
was a
know.
reset. Yeah. So after that reset,
It was a
after
major
that reset,
major milestone.
yeah, and the eye opener,
Eye
the
opener.
actual
Yeah.
eye opener. Yeah. So for my clock, sharp 9:30 10, it's off to the bed.
It's
At
1:50
least,
in the afternoon, Rizwan. 1:50 in the afternoon in North Carolina. So
very good. Unfortunately, I'm the United States of Damaigoda right now. United States of Hyderabad.
but thank you so much for jumping on, man. I thought of buying that fancy microphone, which comes out like that and can hear and all that. I was worried that I need to buy that, but I think we're able to hear each other pretty well, right? There's no audio or
Yeah,
you're not hearing a
yeah.
background.
I'm not using any headphones or earbuds or anything. It's directly
Mhm.
over the phone.
Yeah, nice, man.
The only thing is, the way my camera is there is because I'm joining from phone. So
I just
now,
made it bigger.
oh, you did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I can do this as well.
So
Yeah,
you
different options.
wantedly keep a video. The screen time you're capturing more screen time for yourself.
No, we both are the same. We got the same size of. Okay, it's fine. The
So
screen.
you did.
It's LinkedIn for God's sake. We can't talk something vulgar here. Okay, Rizwan, please control your emotions. I
Okay,
think
so I guess
we can call it a day, unless you have any other questions to ask, Rizwan.
yes.
You
What are you
already gave
doing
the
after
hint
the
that you're
live?
sleepy.
So you have any questions for me?
No, man, I won't trouble you at this point in time. I thought of
Alrighty,
asking you questions, but since you're sleepy, I'll let go of you.
perfect. So thank you so much for inviting me for your first session on live LinkedIn. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and time is clicking. It's already 46 minutes. So without wasting others' time, so everyone, thanks for
And
joining in.
Sundar, I know SRH is losing, but it doesn't matter to me, man. India is winning still. Such a diplomatic answer, Sundar. Chalo, guys. Nice
So,
meeting you
so in
all.
that again, the procurement and sourcing was not right. The sourcing of players, correct?
Yeah,
The
sourcing
con
of players was not right, right? That's right. Sourcing and
maybe
the
right.
auctions were not done the right way. The auctions were not conducted in a fair
All
manner.
the MIS, the data MIS which was collected for the players was not right by the person who was doing MIS on
Yeah,
Excel.
absolutely. They didn't have a good sourcing and procurement guy. That's why all this happened. Else,
Oh,
Sunrisers Hyderabad would have won.
guys, this is just I don't
We
know,
just blabbering away to kill time. Okay, before it gets any more awkward, Rizwan, I really enjoyed talking to you after a while. Okay, and thank you for asking all those wonderful questions out of thin air with no preparation at all. And I really thank Sundar as well as Prithvi to come on. At least I know that there are two people who have followed me at least as on date, and Shakib as well. But at least there are three people who would want to listen to me whenever I come on online. So, and we just gave like I gave 55 minutes lead time for folks to join. I just put the event out on LinkedIn, and I went live after 1 hour because StreamYard doesn't allow me to go live in less than an hour on LinkedIn. So that's why I had to
yeah.
wait for an hour.
That's the learning. So probably you need to plan this right, like in a week's
Uh,
advance and
a week in
the
advance
process.
and let people know, let them add this event as a reminder on their YouTube or LinkedIn, and then maybe we'll have more people. Even if there are very few people joining in, I'm still okay. At least this is recorded, and then they can listen to it later as well. So I'm cool with that. Stop looking at yourself,
Perfect.
Rizwan.
Yeah, so I'm just looking weird. I mean, there's no preparation. I didn't knew that this will be recorded. I thought it's
Yeah.
just a live session and we'll be there for
Oh,
some time and it will give it
I'm
done.
going to cut. We can cut this into pieces and post on different mediums. I have not posted this on Facebook as well. I need to do that. Maybe I'll start off
Oh,
something on Facebook.
great. Karthik, thank you so much for inviting me. It was pleasure seeing you, meeting you on LinkedIn Live. And
Absolutely, bro.
inshallah,
Thank
we'll
you.
hope to see you again and with some good, interesting question from my and from your
Absolutely.
from
Many more to come. Thank you, bro.
yeah,
Take care. Have a good night.
yeah, pleasure. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
everyone.